Guess who it is? Guess again. You're probably right, because it's on the bottom of your screen. I'm Nito. I'm joined with Keon, and I'm joined by yet another CCA set, a Division 4 matchup between Farmingdale Esports and UGA Red. As I said before, I'm Nito, and here's Keon with more redundancy.
you really needed more redundancy in your time here, Nito. But of course, it's Farmingdale Esports versus UGA Red from, of course, University of Georgia. Hey, Nito, here's the best part. Both teams are 3-0 in their season record. One team has to lose. Unfortunately, they'll have a blemish in the record, but then the other team will be undefeated. And effectively speaking, assuming there's no shenaniganery happening in this Group 4 group here, we might be one of these teams is very likely going to be clinching a playoff spot.
This is my favorite type of matchup. Now we have two teams coming in undefeated. We have two 3-0 teams, like you said. One team wins, they're automatically going to the playoffs. One team loses, and now now that other team has to sit there and think, okay, we need to win one more match to get into the playoffs. You're saying there's still a chance? No, there's definitely a chance for both of these teams. I know Farmingdale and University of Georgia are both looking at this very closely, maybe even casual conscious too, because they're still in that race. You can even count in the Moravian Cyrus Squids, but so far it's all about these two, and actually tonight it's about these two, and of course it all starts off at ShipShape Cargo Co.
Yeah, ShipShape Cargo Co. Tower Control, our leadoff map, let's say, for this best of 7. I was about to say playoff 7. I'm getting ahead of myself here. But before we touch upon that here, we got some time. So quick keys to victory, by the way, for Farmingdale Esports, the team to keep an eye for those to keep an eye on. Coordinated, number one, they're looking for coordinated positioning, which of course, good in a team game, that is very important. Sportsmanship, always be good sports, of course, and then map control. So, of course, with ShipShape Cargo Co. Tower control being the way it is, if you get a firm control mid and then able to push your advantages, that's a good start for Farmingdale Esports. I'll also cover UGA Red as well. Their keys to victory: chip damage combos are the way to go. Which, if you're able to make that work, go for it. Set up so that Ember can sweep and stay calm and have no fun. And have no fun. Wow, and have fun with it no matter result. No fun allowed. Apparently, coming out of my words. So
Absolutely not.
UGA Red, of course, want to have fun and still play the game, but of course, looking to set up Ember throughout the rest of the set.
Right, I mean, depending on how we come across fun, of course, being very subjective. No, I'm kidding. No, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun here. It's 2 3-0 teams. There's no way we don't have fun. And I wanted to also take a look at some stats real quick, and the stats we've been given by this invisible notebook from the staff. The most picked weapons from Farmingdale Esports seem to be a Nautilus and a Slosher. Funnily enough, UGA Red's going to go for T-Tech and Tri-Stringer most often. I almost saw Tri-Stringer and Slosher together, and I would be honest, I nearly said one of them likes to bring out Tri-Slosher. So that's kind of on me.
The funny thing is that they didn't necessarily specify which Tri-Stringer and Nautilus too. It could just be any of those two. Same with the Slosher now. Granted, I think we know what those options are gonna be, but they didn't necessarily specify it. But that being said, most Farmingdale Esports scoring their most picked weapons being Nautilus and Slosher. UGA Red, of course, going with the T-Tech and the Tri-Stringer for the most played ones. Basically no shocker if we're gonna be seeing those weapons out there in any shape or form. Now, the funny thing is, Nito, before we went live, is there's always one weapon you do not want to see. Here. Let me take out my pencil and I need to think about that for a hot second.
No. Let's. So far, we're here to have fun. Remember, if we manifest Snipe Rider, then there's a little bit of. We need to be a little bit more cautious, because then we bring up the Tri-Stringer. Now, some people aren't a fan of pencils, and judging by my ballpoint pen here, no. But yeah, no. I'm just gonna reserve my thoughts. We're gonna see what comes out, especially with ShipShape Cargo Co. I assume we're gonna see a tiny bit more paint. I used to call this map the Schellendorf of Splatoon 3. It looks so similar, and I think, judging by that, we're gonna need a little bit more paint in this one.
Well, yeah, it's entirely possible that for a team that may be painting pencils, of course, the de facto choice by the end of it. But To your point, you don't want to manifest pencil. You got to deal with ship shape cargo control. We mentioned before getting control of the map around mid because a lot of the brawls tend to happen right down the mid once you get past the first checkpoint. Farmingdale wants to heavily focus on map control. That's gonna be the very most important thing that they're gonna need to do if they want to do that. Now, of course, you want to set the tone, win the first map, and then try to get yourself set up the rest of the way. Personally, I would like to see both teams, kind of just do that. I would love a close matchup, especially with the two teams that are, of course, we know record-wise.
And we're gonna get these teams up and running. As you can see, we've got both teams raring to go, getting their weapon choices out of the way. It is about time that I mentioned University of Georgia Red is coming from Division 6 last season, where they won the whole thing. They actually won 5-0 in their group stage, went dropping 2 games into playoffs, so they've already got an idea of what to look for here, and they're looking to repeat that this season. I think there's a lot of, I want to say momentum, but there's also a lot of good energy in the side of University of Georgia. They're following up on what was a nearly perfect season in Division 6. Now we're going to head over to Division 4, and we might just do the same thing again. Farmingdale though, they're going to keep a close eye on University of Georgia. Remember, they're also the other undefeated team, so we got to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they mentioned before, UGA Red has had no problems really transitioning up to Division 4 whatsoever here. It's about to load right in. Of course, as we are seeing here, Farmingdale is going to be taking on the side of Alpha. So whatever color that will be yellow orangish in this case. On the other side will be UGA Red with the opposite color of red. It's going to be blue. There's a tri-stringer we've been expecting. No cheat tech on the side. Both teams have a Booyah Bomb. I'm actually liking a lot of these choices right out of the gate.
Look at this, Hydra and a Squiffer coming out from Farmingdale. That's about as much chip damage as you'd like to see, especially with that Slotster coming out. There's a lot of opportunities here for coordinated team play, which is what they were looking for. But here comes Ember. This is what University of Georgia was looking for. Setting up, let Ember take the reins here and see what the heck happens. Ember is starting off very well there before getting knocked out by Farmingdale. They have the lead for now. It's a 97 remaining lead. It may not last long. Here comes Roy Boy with those tri-strikes. Cardinals try to move up a little bit more. They've got the lead, and we're going to see how far University of Georgia can turn it around.
Yeah, both teams kind of just stuck into this neutral state, and they're still just kind of doing that. Nobody really having firm control of mid whatsoever. So while we're waiting on that, well, as soon as I say that, Farmingdale did pick up 85 points, not quite making it into the first checkpoint. This will still buy me some time here. Both teams, by the way, having a Booyah Bomb. They got one in favor of the Forge Pro for UGA, Georgia, or UGA Red in this case. Farmingdale has the Hydra Splatling. Both teams, again, sporting double Booyah Bombs. Swiffer is a very fascinating choice. Out of this group, you have pretty much coverage across the board with your front lines being just the regular shot or the vanilla shot for that matter. And on the other side, of course, with the roller, expect a lot more close quarters combat. Both teams kind of playing in the same point range-wise. So that's kind of where I'm going to be keeping an eye on is how well you execute, of course, how well you can coordinate your specials. By the way, 3 specials available for Farmingdale, and nobody's still breaking through the first checkpoint yet.
Wow, look at that. Quick knives from the Squiffer. See, I'm already used to saying sniper, and we've got a Squiffer on the other team. I like the way Farmingdale's thinking here. It says, we don't need that sniper, and we've got a Squiffer, and that's really all you need here. As you see Card trying to get some paint down, trying to protect the tower very well as they do. They're double for Farmingdale as he cruise right past checkpoint 1, making his way to checkpoint 2, and with a triple to top things off. That's gonna be a nice and easy cruise to checkpoint 2. Grace now having to work the corners, having to work this little wall here, but Roy Boy and the Hydra actually popping the Booyah there. Got 2 players down. This is starting to look even better for Farmingdale. Watch out for Ember though, trying to sneak in. Can they sneak in? They do not. Actually, they do sneak by with the help of some University of Georgia players.
That's like barely 7 points remaining in the grand scheme of things. And what really kickstarted this off is that you had 2 members from Georgia basically trying to run up to the tower to try to stop the push from happening, but they didn't really get any full coverage of where the Farmingdale players were at that point in time. They were still just lurking around at that point. and kind of just, took them out one by one at that point, running into the tower. It pretty much escalated their advantage up to that 7-point main. So again, surprised they didn't get the KO there as Ember gets 2. Can we see Ember just go off there? That's a 3, goes down with their own. That's going to at least possibly get the push start for UGA Red. Farmingdale going to have to just wisely retreat here a bit. They may be giving up this first checkpoint unless the Slosher there for Roy Boy has anything to say about it.
Oh, and I like the way Farmingdale's playing, still playing patiently. It's what you like to see from these newer teams. To see Roy Boy trying to work that Slosher, knows how to use that range very well. Actually goes down to the curling bomb. Bit of a commentator's curse there. I seem to be pretty good at that kind of thing. As 2 players go down for University of Georgia. That's Swiffer there, left in the middle, trying to get themselves back into the game here. But Grace trying to hold on to the tower as well. Ember defending the tower, both 2 players going down. It's starting to look like Farmingdale's doing good under map control promise, because it seems like almost total domination, letting UGA Red get up to 30 points remaining, but Farmingdale's still holding on.
Yeah, Farmingdale's doing a really good job, actually just really winning the fights and just able to throw UGA Red off their game here for just a bit. Again, we'll be saying our praises to Farmingdale, and then they go into a 3-down situation, which allows UGA Red to get themselves kickstarted. Only 1 member stuck at spawn. This should be the first checkpoint coming up here, Nito. They got the clear dished out. They can now play a lot more aggressively. They're having 2 members in the tower. They're full committing to make sure this push stays alive as much as they can. Z, they're just trying to see if they can find anybody with that Swiffer. That's all it's going to be, though. They're going to have to throw this buoy bomb. That buoy bomb hits the wall there. And imagine that was either not intended or somehow intended, but it didn't get anybody out of it. No matter, though, the Swiffer goes down. Trip strikes thrown around the tower there, but they're still losing 2. It's the other way around, and Ember gets 2 off of that. This push should continue on with 18 seconds left to go. And Ember, if Ember gets missed, which they do, allows this push to keep on happening.
Oh my goodness, Ember was set up for the sweep, and it's starting to happen just a little bit more, and especially when University of Georgia needs it, but this zone's going to be contested pretty heavily by Farmingdale, who holds on, might be holding on. 1 player goes down on the tower for UGA Red, meaning Farmingdale's going to take this first game. Coming down to the wire there, Farmingdale just barely able to hold on, especially with Ember popping off exactly when UGA needed it.
I mean, Ember's just crazy finds where they're with the triple allowed that push to keep on being extended. But of course, they had a lot to go through. They had to get through multiple checkpoints. Things are going to be very tough for them at the tail end of that matchup. And by the time that all happened, Farmingdale, all they need to do is just clamp down on defense. I got a little worried there because they were losing that fight right at the tail end of it. A lot of it assisted from Ember, the rest of them from the support of UGA Red, but when UGA Red pretty much became scattered and pretty much segmented 1 by 1 out there, at that point, UGA Red, nobody's going to be running the tower. The timers are just going to work against you. Farmingdale setting up very well. Got a little scared at the end, but they took that first map home.
Yeah, and I keep watching this matchup and thinking, Farmingdale is playing very patiently, which in a game this fast-paced as Splatoon, patience is almost the one thing people overlook. I like that Farmingdale is waiting for their opportunities, especially when Georgia was starting to make their first pushes past first checkpoint. I like that Farmingdale is playing patiently, and it showed even more when Ember started popping off at the end there. I like the way Farmingdale's playing. University of Georgia does have something special in their hands with Ember, but they got it. It's almost like we got to look at the way they're setting up more. I still like what Ember is capable of, and I want to keep an eye on him from here.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. Both teams kind of executed a lot of their keys to victory. Of course, someone had to win the first map there, and I got to give a lot of credit. You mentioned Farmingdale playing very patiently there. I still look back at the moment though where Georgia trying to chase 2 members into the tower at a point, trying to just forcibly stop the push on their own. They may have felt the sense of urgency, realizing, okay, the first checkpoint went down. We gotta just go right at that tower, make sure we don't let that tower keep on pushing. But by the end of it, Farmingdale just caught them by surprise. They're kind of just in a bad position to begin with, which allowed Farmingdale to just escalate that lead up to 7 points remaining. But there you go. Farmingdale winning the first map in ship-shaped cargo tower control. Moving on to Undertow Rainmaker, almost the ink black tower control version of Rainmaker, if you will, because you see this everywhere now. I want to see how UGA Red kind of adjusted there. They had something that looked really promising at the end of the first map, just couldn't piece it together with the time left on the clock. Let's see how both teams. Let's see what both teams dish out here in the second one.
Oh, I want to see the Hyper come back. Do we see it come back? Yes,
Yeah!
we do. And a Nautilus to complement it. Look at that. We've got a
Oh!
Carbon Roller. Okay, Ember's maybe studying on that Alliance Man Volti gameplay. I like to see it. Good. We actually got the Ninja Squid Carbon Roller. That seems to be a classic among Carbon Roller Deco fans. So, Farmingdale opening very quickly here. University of Georgia backing off just a little bit. Gonna see what Farmingdale opens up with first, and that's gonna be one pick.
So quick check here on Farmingdale's end. They got the T-Tech and the Wipers. You got two of your front lines. You're gonna have Nautilus covering a lot of the mid and Hydra with the back. That's actually a very well balanced setup. As soon as I say that, Trip Strike takes out the Hydra. But on the other side of UGA Red, now you got to start enabling Ember with the Carbon Roller Deco there, because that Carbon Roller Deco, you give them a lot of ink to work with there. Apologies if you've heard my phone. If you give them a lot of ink to work with there, they'll just try to catch you by surprise each go around, and that's what I want to see out of this group. They got a lot of range coverage. The T-Tech and the Force Ball will need to step up to allow Ember to be enabled there. Both teams kind of stuck in a bit of a bloodbath there. Farmingdale's coming out with taking out 3 of them.
Here comes Z with the Splatana Wiper, actually doing a lot of heavy lifting here on the offensive side of things for Farmingdale. Card and Z both pumping off these specials, and there's a lot of coordination you're seeing from Farmingdale. That's especially what I want to see there. They're doing very good on these keys to victory, these almost a promise, I feel like, at this point, because they're executing them so well. Ember's gonna follow up on that Booyah Bomb and see if they can open up with something of their own. Trysuka going down very quickly here. Wrap Wayne card, they will take that down. This could be a wipe for Farmingdale. HT in a bit of trouble, does back out in time, but Farmingdale still holding on with control. They might be able to clear this first checkpoint.
Really?
Just barely misses out.
Yeah. At that point, UGA Red already knows you're going to try to force it to the right side of the checkpoint there, and then you're going to lose everybody just trying to force it. I wonder if they were trying to go for the quick checkpoint cap there. Maybe could have been a little bit more wiser going to the left-hand side, but at the end of the day, UGA Red holds firm with that reset. I still harken back though. They're using a lot of the trip tracks to at least get zoned and try to make sure that they protect the path for the Rainmaker as much as they can. But but UGA Red on an attempted push gets wiped out just like that one. Now we see Z with the ult stand. They're just carving up the same path. And again, just forcing it to the right-hand side. And I'd imagine, unless they're trying to force it on the other way, no, they're still going to that right-hand side. Again, UGA Red knows that this is what they're going to keep on going. And they're ready for it on defense each go-around. I'd like to see Farmingdale try to adjust it for a bit until they get the caps. They're proving it wrong anyway.
I love what Farmingdale is doing here. It's actually kind of, I feel like it sounds very rudimentary, but Farmingdale is just forcing that towards that first checkpoint. It does eventually work out there with UGA Red unable to stop that sneaky push from Farmingdale, but Georgia does anticipate this a little bit more, and it looks like both teams are anticipating pushes more now, as we see Farmingdale shutting down Georgia. Georgia shutting down Farmingdale with Ender taking out that Platana's Viper, and now it looks like both teams are in a neutral stance yet again. Seems like both teams know what each team is going to do, but do both teams know what they're going to do, and do they know too well? That's the sort of question I'm asking myself, because they might be going for that right checkpoint yet again. Here comes Enver with a few picks to get themselves up and running, unless Z has anything to say about it with that Wiper. Going for HT, might be able to get another pick here, but it is trapped in a bunch of enemy. This could be trouble for Farmingdale, as University of Georgia gets at least one pick, getting themselves into the advantage.
Look at the amount of map coverage that Farmingdale is kind of working off of, though. They got a lot of control on this mid area, and Georgia's having a hard time making it happen. But again, I talked about it before. You allow Ember to run free with the ink, then Ember gets the triple, shows you up just like that. And that is what UGA wants to do. They want to enable Ember at each go-round. They break through the first time. This is a critical checkpoint they just cleared too. This is going to be the lead change for sure now. Farmingdale goes 2 down in a critical moment. They take out 3 just like that. That's a huge stop, though. That is a much-needed stop right across that unequal ramp. But Farmingdale got their work cut out for them. They now have to swing lead back the other direction. But that was Ember. Again, the same story from the first map. Ember goes off, taking out 3 members of their own. And this time they get the lead. But we need to see if they can hold on to it, though, with 30 seconds left on the clock.
And here comes Georgia. All they needed to do was enable Ember a little bit more. It looks like these specials are coming into play for Ember, which is doing a very good job, especially when you, like you mentioned, a team that's doing very good for this for map coverage, or with map coverage, Farmingdale able to cover the map very well. But it looks like they're going to pick up the Rainmaker straight from spawn. Ratboy leading the charge here, still stuck in mid, is still stuck at a little bit of a neutral game here, but Carter's going to send it down the left side. This is what you were looking for, that left side movement, but the tri-strike takes out the Rainmaker just before Farmingdale could secure the lead. Georgia will be taking game number 2.
I think it's safe to say, Nito, that was the clutchest trip strike you're going to be seeing right from the hands of UGA Red. Oh, again, we give a lot of credit. Remember, this time the supporting team shows up clutch when they needed that, because we saw what Farmingdale was going to do. Ultra Stamp enabled, paint out the path, get the quick lead. But the backside left unchecked for those trip strikes to be dished out. UGA Red was just all over and realized that, okay, they're going to try to go for the left-hand side this go-around. Right side way too risky. And those trip strikes landed at the right position to take out the Rainmaker holder and secure game 2. This is gonna be a very fun matchup. I'm really excited to see how this plays out.
I know we were wondering if they're gonna do play all 7 regardless of the result. This might just be a 7-game matchup anyway with the way things are going. I mean, Farmingdale is doing very well on map control, and yet I think University of Georgia, they're starting to catch on a little on how can we enable Ember to do what they can do so well. It seems like this sort of special coordination with Ember is starting to get things rolling for Georgia. I saw in certain parts of the game, Ember working with that Booyah Bomb and working sometimes with the tri-strikes. That tri-strikes, by the way, coming in very clutch. Almost the GG tri-strikes for him, but
just in a different way, of course.
Catching on. They're catching on. I think Georgia's catching on.
Yeah, and I love what they're doing each go run. I love what Ember's doing. Again, we keep highlighting Ember, but there's a big reason why we do it in this case, because Ember's triples are coming up big time to allow either just attempted game-winning pushes or game-winning pushes that you saw in game 2. But the Reds team has done their part to step up. Farmingdale, yes, it may have slipped out of them, but I think but they can definitely feel good knowing that they had a lot of control in the first, let's say, 3/4 of that second map. But again, what matters is what the result is by the end of it. So Farmingdale, I'd imagine they're going to try to go back to what worked out really well for them, especially with Umami Ruins Clan Blitz, where map control is going to be the name of the game anyway. That if whatever they did in map 1 and map 2 effectively after 3/4 of that match, they're wanting to replicate the same. Of course, it's Clan Blitz now. Teamwork is even more important.
Teamwork is important indeed, and if I know anything about Clan Blitz, I swear if I see a crack-on roller come out from Ember, I already know what's about to happen, but we're going to see these comps come out from both teams. Of course, it's going to be Farmingdale coming up first. Farmingdale's going to be pulling out most of the same action. Here comes the brush and the machine. Okay, hold on. Maybe not. But here comes the roller. That's not quite the crack-on I was looking for, so that's at least proving me wrong. They've got the bubbler instead. Two players on Ninja Squid there for UGA Red. They're still going to play a little sneaky, try to enable Ember to do their thing. That curling bomb is definitely going to help, if anything. But that UGA, I think, has to be catching on, because with these special combinations, they've got the cooler, the bubbler, and the Booyah Bomb. I think Georgia's cooking something here.
Yeah, so the best part is that Georgia's going a little bit more supporty enabled Ember strategy again. The England Train there with the Super Chumps is going to help out. You got the Booyah Bomb and Cooler, of course. Booyah Bomb for sure securing the area. I'm a little intrigued by what Farmingdale is kind of dishing out though with that Off the Rush Nouveau with the Beacon Inkstorm and then the Nautilus double Inkstorm comp and the Neo Slot Machine. So if you can lob some of those shots well, you could be setting up your team for success. But I'm also wondering, the paint output may not be quite there out of Farmingdale in comparison to UGA Red. But at the same time, though, what really matters is getting decent control of the map. They're doing pretty much just that. Even with both teams going 2 down, Farmingdale has a power clamp ready to go if they can get a push started. It might just take some time.
If you bring up that the idea of paint coverage, if they want to keep holding on to that map control, they're going to need some of that paint coverage. Which, I mean, you might be mitigating it with those ink strikes, but it's certainly not mitigating picks. As Georgia is able to get a full wipeout on Farmingdale. This is going to be a huge opening if they can get that clamp into the basket. But Roy Boy, they're in the nick of time to stop it. Ember's holding down the fort for now, but they do get one clam. Power clams in. 60 points remaining for the University of Georgia. A wipeout for Farmingdale, but the damage has been done to the points remaining. University of Georgia now holding on to the lead.
And that's exactly what happens when you don't have proper paint coverage at that point in time. You lose four and things just run amok in a hurry there. UGA Red just ran with 2 power claims. Yes, they got wiped out by the end of it, but again, they're going to be very content getting that push and get themselves set back on defense. So they're going to. So I'm so wondering how the doubling turn is going to work. That one Trizuka shot, by the way, lands on the HT. They take out the inline tri-stringer, but can they even move up? They're going to give this push at least started, but they're going to have the follow up there. Ember is not clutch enough, but they are going to give the second power on serendipitous clams, if you will, as they get 3 power clams in. The push is effectively stalled. Ember was just a second too late to prevent that second power clam from going in any further. Instead of the tie, they're now back in the deficit. That's a great response from Farmingdale, all things considered.
And it looks like this patience is paying off well. It looks like the patience is almost coming back here. I saw it in Game 1. I was seeing it in Game 2. They got a wipeout. They knew they had an opportunity with that wipe, so they decided to send their players in. Not quite commit to a full push, but it's paying off dividends for them. They've got to lead forward now. University of Georgia has an opportunity to turn that around, though. They've already got the tactical route, but they've got 2 players down. Ember and HC are the only ones left. Can HC do just enough to cover Ember? Might actually be enough to get 1 pick here with the tri-strike, or with the tri-stringer. And here goes 2 players going down for the University of Georgia. Farmingdale still holding on. Perhaps they don't need map control. They figured out that as long as they can have that numbers advantage, that could be enough to send them in. 2 players going down. Actually, 2 players on both teams going down now. Crunchy able to clean up that Nautilus, slowing things down for Farmingdale. I think both teams are starting to catch on a little bit more now.
Yeah, both teams kind of now stuck into this dueling phase. Right around the middle. I was kind of thinking about here is what is Farmingdale going to have to do to at least get the lead back. UGA Red is going to try to continue to be in your face each go around. Ember gets one off of that one with Jasmine go down, but they're going to lose 2 in the process, which is I believe on the defensive side of their map. So with Farmingdale, I need to see a little bit more coverage, as you mentioned. Maybe you don't need the map coverage. Maybe you can win out some of the fights by the end of it. Maybe set it with the beacons there as well. They're special. There's an Ainstorm that's at least around to kind of just spread out the rest of the team a little bit, but they got to go start winning on some of these fights there. Ember, it's just a trade 1-for-1. Farmingdale is gonna take a lot longer now to farm some of those clams, but then somehow Jasmine gets the trade, but they're losing on the man advantage, all things considered. UGA Red is looking to push up for an even bigger lead. Or excuse me, they're trying to get the lead back.
Yeah, it looks like Jasmine had a prime opportunity there. Almost could have gotten a double there. Unfortunately, one of the players just got out of range, but Jasmine wasn't able to clean that up. But UGA Red having to scramble a little bit more, entering into this desperation mode. This game just might be going to overtime, but they've got 2 power clams here. That still won't be enough for them to win, but they got 1 player down. Jasmine's starting to disrupt things out. There's 3 players down. Farmingdale starting to come up on the rise. It's all up to Ember with 1 power clam, facing a whole army of Farmingdale Orange on the other side. They do go down to one of Farmingdale's players. There's 2 players going down. Rat Boy and Roy Boy working together, may be able to take out Grace. There's 3. This could be it for Farmingdale, who might be able to take game 3. That should be a lock for now, and it is.
Yeah, that was game 3. By the way, the entire time I thought Farmingdale was trailing. No, it's the other way around. It was more, how does UGA Red win out some of those fights that they desperately needed? But they're running into close quarters combat every go around with the Nautilus and the Autobrush duo, who was able to get a lot of return spots. I still can't believe that they kept trading as much as they did, too. All credit to Farmingdale, at least holding down on defense when they absolutely needed to. That almost looked so promising out of Georgia there by the end of things, and I'd imagine just a few fights just did not go their way by the end of it. I think that's really all it boiled down to. There wasn't really anything else too special there. Maybe there could have been some enabling, but I got to give a lot of credit, though. Farmingdale played that map beautifully.
Oh, absolutely, and I think they're going back to how patiently they played in that first matchup, waiting for those opportunities to come back to them. Like I said earlier, they're doing pretty well in that aspect, and I think with the way University of Georgia is playing, all they need to do is work that patience, especially around Ember. We know how dangerous Ember can be, so if they just play their patience around Ember, and especially what's enabling that can work out very well for Farmingdale within these next few matchups as we head to Split Zones on Mega Mart for Game 4.
Game 4 is match 4. This is another map where emphasis on map control is starting to become more and more important there. And Farmingdale, honestly, a lot of their positions actually not too bad. Georgia's been playing playing their game pretty well as they have. It's been so close back and forth. Both teams kind of just brawling it out here. In Miguel's zones, you have of course the zone right down the middle, the very plus shaped zone there. If you get decent control and winning out some of the maps either through fights or just overall map territory, that's gonna help set everybody up by going on to the right hand side and then try to force the lockout that way. That could get dangerous for Farmingdale. We've seen how Ember has played along with the rest of the support from Georgia with HT, Grace, and Crunchy being in here. For Farmingdale, though, they won the previous one. You're trying to see how you can build upon the next one. As you mentioned, maybe a lot more patient, still more focus onto total map control as much as they can, either with double link storms or whatnot. I want to see what they want to dish out here. Maybe the Hydra comes back.
I think that as long as you put we need. As much as I liked how Farmingdale played in that last match, I want to see those paint-heavy weapons come back, especially with Makomar. Makomar is going to be one where Ember can run wild if you don't have that paint control. There's so many flank routes in this map. There's so many ways that Ember can sneak in to enemy territory. So we need to go back to those paint-heavy. That's going to be the Hydra and the T-Tech. That's the one you called, and that's going to be what we're seeing here. For UGA Red pulling out something similar, they're going to bring back the tri-strikes, and that's going to be there to at least ensure they can keep zone and maybe even keep themselves within striking distance. As you see, Ember already going for another sneaky play here. If they can get it, it's going to be that Sabatana Wiper that they might target, but they're going to be trying to get themselves back up. It's going to be a little retreat for Ember as University of Georgia looks to get things started.
Yeah, so the fascinating thing I like out of Farmingdale's change, double trip strikes, and of course the Wiper for the hammer as well. Hydra for Blue Bomb. That's going to be a lot of zoning, a lot of trip strikes, a lot of aerial paint coverage as much as they can. So UGA Red, which they needed to do here, was capture zone. They got to also find some of the picks. They take out the Wiper. Actually, both teams again. It's kind of the same story. It's kind of been a brawl of sorts there. MSCar winning that fight in Crunchy will at least retain control. Now they got to see if they can push their advantage up. They plant the Hydra in the back to at least defend the zone as much as they can. Now both teams kind of still playing this one close to a neutral game. They're still allowing members of UGA Red potentially to set up, but Ember is trying to do a bit much there, and that's the current roller Deco going down. Farmingdale still has the zone. Nito.
This is starting to become like the neutral battle we've been watching the last few matchups. That's going to be Farmingdale taking back the zone, by the way, as University of Georgia is still contesting it. But that's gonna be something you're gonna see all game. I feel both teams looking to play to some extent some patience here. I actually didn't see a pick until we got to about a 4:21 remaining. So both teams playing with a little bit more patience here, waiting for what other teams bring out. But here comes with another few picks on that hammer. Great job there. As you see that double coming in clutch for Farmingdale, who has to clear these penalty points before they can get themselves right below 50 remaining. The miss with the Hydra pick there, able to clean things up for Farmingdale as University of Georgia still looking to get things going. Farmingdale still holding control of the zone.
Look at how far Farmingdale is the entire time. Georgia has no entryways to work off of. They're winning a lot of the fights as much as they are here. Royboy is able to get one. Yes, you take out the Hydra, but what else is there? There's going to be the specials coming out here. It's the trip strikes coming through. Ember is still seeking through, using the Blue Bomb, kind of a bit of a smoke screen, but they're losing a lot of the painting so much, and I imagine that's what they needed Ember to do. There's a lot of a swing here. Miss takes out a few more, and Georgia is losing a lot of fights right across the side. They need the trip strikes. They need the neutralize the zone at this point in time. They barely do with 4 points remaining. A little bit of a lifeline, if you will. The Wiper and the Hydra, by the way, going down. Ember is trying to set up once more. This is what UGA Red, if you're going to hold on to the zone, you need to hold on for dear life. Don't allow that zone to flip.
I'd say both teams are playing patiently. Which one's doing it right? And that sounds very vague, but I mean, Farmingdale's doing this to perfection. They let University of Georgia take control. It's almost like they let University of Georgia take control of the zone as Royboy able to get a clean double there with the slosher. Oh my goodness, it's like I'm watching Splatoon 2 gameplay with how well I almost expected the bomb rush to come out from this, what I thought was a soda slosher, but this is doing so well here. Farmingdale playing so patiently, waiting for these opportunities to come to them because they know they can pick off these opportunities from the University of Georgia, who's going to try to rush for the zone. Here comes Ember trying to get the zone victor. Grace now having to back that up with the prize strikes. This could be it for Farmingdale. They can hold on to the zone, but Crunchy and Grace trying to paint to the zone. Still a bit of a struggle there. If one of these players goes down, this could be it for Farmingdale. both of them still waiting to go down. There's Country. This might
Huge.
be Ember going down. That's 2 going down. That's going to be game 4 going to Farmingdale. Now on match point.
Farmingdale running this one very well. I know we keep referencing the map control. It continues to show in spades for the most part. Yes, you lose the zone split, but that required everything out of Georgia Red to basically be thrown into the zone and even win out some fights. Even some of the picks they were having, it was just all trades. Georgia needed to basically reaffirm that zones cap as much as they can, but they're having to face off against how do you deal with double trip strikes and a Booyah Bomb to easily flip zone the other way, and you're dealing with a dueling Booyah Bomb and a trip strike to cover for it. You gotta allow your team to get set up correctly, try to get the zone, and then push forward. They're just losing so much of the fights, and Farmingdale has done a very good job neutralizing Ember there. First 2 maps, Ember has gotten some clutch triples. The last few, Ember's impact not as prevalent as we saw in the first 2 maps.
I mean, my point can easily be stated by something you said in that matchup, which is you take the Hydra down, sure, but what else is there? Because now Farmingdale is holding on so well to this control, and it's not even just map control. They're imposing themselves on Georgia so well that Georgia just didn't. At one point, Georgia just didn't have an opportunity to get into or past plant even. They got picked off. Oh, they got picked off a little bit, and that's leaving Georgia staggered. So Farmingdale's playing this very well. I still want Georgia knows what Ember's capable of, and I think they need to go back to whatever they were doing in Rainmaker, backing Ember up with all these specials. I want to see a little bit more from that. I know Georgia can still enable Ember. I want to see them work with those specials a little bit more, though.
Special coordination just needs to be on point. I love that Ember was trying to use the Booyah Bomb kind of as a smoke screen, trying to hide from where everybody else was with the Booyah Bomb and catch them by surprise. I'd like to see kind of something similar to that, and what we saw from the previous one. I know we mentioned special compositions. That's where that starts to become key. Roy Boy, of course, going off with the triple is just the cherry on top to a composition that just asserts control and total zones dominance. You're now going on the Inkblot Art Academy Tower Control, effectively the final destination version of all tower control maps, where you could be. Actually, they subbed out Z, so Z is not in the lineup for Farmingdale Esports. I'm actually now fascinated as to what they want to dish out here for this Inkblot Art Academy Tower Control, because what I was originally going to say here was that the Viper could be a very solid pick here in this particular map, but with subbing Z out, it's gonna be completely different here. Of course, Georgia, they're down 3-1. They need to win this one to at least stay alive in the set. Farmingdale just wants to close the books on this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this is match point for Farmingdale. All they got to do is win this one, and they're looking at a playoff clinch here. University of Georgia. Gotta remember, they're still in this one. This is 3-1, and it's not over until one team reaches 4. So tower control on Inkblot. It's going to be an opportunity for both of these teams to take away a win of sorts here, as we see that Nautilus come back. Here comes the brush. Is that Zipcaster brush? It is. And University of Georgia has got an NZAP and a 52 here. A nice little switch up for University of Georgia. Hopefully help get things going for them.
How do you feel about a Nautilus with triple splashdown? I want to entertain that question with you. That's what we're seeing here, by the way. They're still kind of dishing out control there, and I think the idea with the Zipcaster, just go into the backside, catch everybody by surprise. We see this a lot here in Inkblot. Pretty much any map that you'll see here, especially more prevalent now. So hey, I like to see how Farmingdale executes this one well. Georgia Red, the only change is that 52 gal away from the Booyah Bomb, which the Booyah Bomb could have been a better pick. But that's just when you look at it on paper. And away with the T-Tech with the NZAP got coolers. I like this aggressive change, but I want to see if Georgia can execute this one. Georgia's going to be the one touching the tower first.
Yeah, again, I do wonder what's going on with this triple splashdown. It's weird enough seeing Nautilus with a splashdown. That's one thing I was looking at whenever this new Nautilus came out. But when you think about it in terms of this matchup, where University of Georgia goes 2 players, 3 players down actually, by the way, Farmingdale, I believe, is wanting more creative opportunities to get this to get the keep map control rather, and I think this is that triple splashdown is going to be what does it, or what might do it for them. But here comes Ember going around the sides here, and let's get at least one player down before University of Georgia is able to get that one more player down as well. Crunchy now looking for an opportunity, actually getting to step on a tower and keep things rolling for Georgia. Farmingdale has yet to score, but they're holding Georgia back pretty well for now.
Georgia's gonna have to be held back a lot if the specials just keep on going strong, because you're dealing with a Buddha bomb, you're dealing with trip strikes and a triple splashdown. At any point, it's gonna cover the tower with their own range. So they have to win out just generally a lot of these fights to just prevent some of these specials from being built. It's a key thing they clear the first checkpoint, regardless of the situation where it's a 1v1. Okay, they are enabled with the 2v2 trade there. Roy Boy might be going off here, but the Slosher gets one more. Punchy barely escapes with their lives. And even so, the tower goes up to 69 punch range. You just can't really push too far up at that point in time. You'll have to be content with that 69 punch range. More importantly, that is the checkpoint that's being cleared. I like that they're going a little bit more creative, though, as you mentioned. Maybe the triple splashdown used to cover as much of the map, especially when you consider the stacks on that Inkblood has added. Hey, Farmingdale, I love their creativity. Let's see if they can use the 3 specials to effect. They used one already.
Oh man, University of Georgia, it's another, I feel like this is another neutral battle we're looking at here. I think neither team actually, Georgia has gone past that first checkpoint, and yet Farmingdale hasn't been able to score past 99 remaining. It almost looks like from the scores itself, University of Georgia's doing a pretty good job of holding Farmingdale back before we see someone tragically lost to the water there on the side of the University of Georgia. But Grace has actually popped the cooler already. Here comes Crunchy trying to sneak by towards that tower. The triple splashdown from Rat Boy, able to take care of that as Farmingdale gets a few more points with the tower. Might not last long though, as Ember is starting to sneak around, make their rounds to the tower. 3 players down now for Farmingdale. University of Georgia holding on to the lead.
Now here's the big thing there is that they took 3 of them out, but nobody was really riding the tower at any point. There were some precious seconds where they could have tried to continue to push with the dominance that they had, but they opted to just play this one a little bit more patiently. That might have been a little too patient from Farmingdale. All things considered, Georgia still has lead, but by the thick things, not even clearing the first checkpoint. Now here, watch Ember. Wait, Ember barely didn't have any ink, but that was a huge find into Royboy. I was a little concerned with how that was developing, but that was a huge thing on the Royboy, who's just been a huge X factor. They now have to look for that roller each go around, but that's gonna be points being ticked down at this stage. The only special life is just a lone zip caster, which will have to be flank as anything. And Jasmine does get one member. That's Crunchy going down on top of it. It's 64 points remaining. It's still, by the end of it, anybody's game, and that's 3 down. Farmingdale could be set up now.
Farmingdale has to be set up here because they've only got 30 seconds to make a move. That's University of Georgia holding on to the lead. Here's a double splash, a triple splash, and that turned into a double as Rat Boy goes down. Roy Boy looking to get a pick here as Farmingdale is starting to get things rolling, but University of Georgia shuts that down so well. Farmingdale has started to ride in desperation mode. That could have been the GG booyah for them and things going well for them, but they only got to 84 points remaining, and they only have the Hydra to look forward to, but the Order goes down. They've taken a tower. University of Georgia still in this game, bringing them up to 3-2.
What's really strange about this map in general, Nita, was nobody even made it remotely close to the second checkpoint. This was one of the more neutral battles I feel like we have seen in our lifetime. I feel like this is this set has been dictated by both teams trading left and right, almost equally matched with each other. And by the end of it, Georgia just is the one that comes out on top. I feel like this was just a case where there's just so many opportunities that Farmingdale had, but just couldn't capitalize on it. By the time Georgia respawned, they were able to take out multiple members, at least 3 down in critical situations where Farmingdale could have cleared the first checkpoint or even got a lot more out of it. Georgia did what they needed to do, and they extend the set even further.
This is an interesting matchup here because, as far as from what I can tell, for majority of this matchup, neither team really gets a player past Plat, apart from times where we saw Ember able to go up to the bat side, which is going to be closer to spawn, Plat being closer to mid. But when I see that happen, it almost like I don't know. I almost want to say I'm being hypocritical here, but teams are playing a little too patient. Now we're waiting for Farmingdale, who sees these opportunities, maybe doesn't act on them immediately, but University of Georgia still holding on to things. I like that University of Georgia is putting a lot more pressure on Farmingdale. Perhaps they noticed that Farmingdale was playing a little bit too patiently, or maybe not acting on these opportunities, but it worked out pretty well for University of Georgia, as we're going to head on to Rainmaker on Museum Delfonzino, which is a map that I know Farmingdale is probably going to want to look at more paint-heavy, or probably want to look at paint-heavy weapons yet again.
Don't be surprised if we get to see a lot of trip strike booyah bomb combinations coming out of this one, just for going for quick pops out of the Rainmaker. Obviously, if you're in a critical situation where Georgia's trying to build on that previous map momentum, don't get yourself caught in the first Rainmaker explosion. It's the last thing you want to do in that scenario there. So Museum Delfonso Rainmaker being key. You mentioned before, maybe Farmingdale may have played a little too passive, trying to wait for the right opportunity. Maybe a little bit of a disconnect, if you will, because I was wondering when they're going to push up on the previous map. We didn't get to see it there, but hey, Georgia did what they needed to do and capitalize on mistakes just like that. If I look at this map in particular, by the way, we still don't see Z, so I expect an Octobrush coming out of Jasmine there. Roy Boy has just been dishing out and dealing with that slosher, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see that. On the other side for Georgia, they've been very constant with that tri-stringer. Ember's just been constant with roller. It's now just comes down to is all what has felt like this entire set is execution. This could be shaping up for a very pivotal game 6.
A very pivotal one indeed. Remember, Farmingdale is still on match point, but University of Georgia can win this one, bring us to a game 7, which I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I mean, this almost seems like a microcosm for this whole set, bringing us to another tie where any team can really take this one if they do one small thing. But here comes game 6. Farmingdale and UGA Red meeting at Rainmaker and Museum Delfonzino. We're going to see what both of these teams bring out. You mentioned Jasmine coming out. That's almost certainly going to be an Octobrush on their end. It is. Here's a spot for Deco as well. And there's the V shot as well. University of Georgia opting to go with the same comp we saw earlier.
So this change here is you focus on beacons. That's the thing you got to keep an eye on. And yeah, that is a slosher deco, Zipcaster deco. I actually like this choice coming out of Farmingdale because this is a very Zipcaster friendly map there. So I want to see how Roy Boy dishes this one. Of course, you got the angle shooter or the marker, if you will. So that's if you're able to land on some of those markers, you will know where players are. Rainmaker's been popped right out of the gate, as you mentioned before. Same composition, effectively coming out of Georgia here. So I want to see if these changes work out. But so far, it's a quick 3 down. By the way, just a slosher deck, which is going to be Roy Boy going down to the lane 1. If they make this jump and the checkpoint, that's going to be huge, and they do.
It was just Card there who was left to defend that jump. Not enough for UGA Red as Farmingdale takes the command at the beginning. And Jasmine going for a cheeky play there. Actually, that's Georgia, correcting myself. That's Georgia taking the lead there early on. Farmingdale in a little bit of trouble now. As Georgia pulls off that opening so well. They go 3 down, but the damage has already been done. Roy Boy gonna pop that Zipcaster, see if they can get things going for Farmingdale. But actually going to be Farmingdale picking up the tower from there. That's a really risky play as Crunchy there.
Really?
That might be 2. That's going to be 2 players going down for Farmingdale. University of Georgia proving to be playing very well here.
This is almost a play style change, it feels like. This is now Georgia being very opportunistic as much as they can, and Farmingdale's just kind of now jammed back in their spawn. It's only just two members that have gone down just like that. The Rainmaker has been dropped on top of it, and now the rest of Farmingdale, they should be respawning here, but they're losing the Octobrush Duval on top of it. That's a huge splat on to Crunchy at the very least. Crunchy lurking large could have been critical here, and this is just a Zipcaster that is going to debatably get no value. It will certainly get no value off of it. Might have just been a panic Zipcaster trying to see if they can find any stragglers there. But the shot's going down. I feel like, Nito, we are seeing Joel winning out some of these fights, and they take 3 out. The Rainmaker pop should be coming up here.
Oh my goodness, they come out with the same comp, and it's just a whole different Georgia. I mean, goodness, Crunchy's out here making 52 gal plays. We would have seen in Splatoon 2 with how well this 52 gal is doing. I mean, goodness gracious, but Farmingdale still on the back end of this. There's 3 players down already. Ember is holding things down on the opposing spinner there, as Ember still lurking there. Royboy able to clean that up. That might be Card able to clean that up as well. It's all up to the Rainmaker and Grace to see what they can do. The Rainmaker goes down. Grace wisely backing up there, but I mean, you said it. This is a new Georgia that I hadn't seen earlier. This is probably actually what Georgia needs, because they know what was happening in that last match. Royboy trying to get another opportunity here with the Zipcaster, but has to back out before they can do anything. There's 2 players down for Farmingdale, 1 player down for Georgia, unless Ember can equalize things. But my goodness, this is a whole new team we're watching here.
Whole new ball game for Georgia. Now they're playing with a presence at this point, with a purpose is the word I was trying to look for. But now they're losing 2. This is a point where they need to start showing up here, and Georgia needs to hold down the line. That's a delayed 3. This could potentially be the checkpoint. They're losing these fights now, and this is the other side. This is gonna be Farmingdale could be set up here, but they're losing everybody in the process, and they can't push themselves up to the first checkpoint, and that's a critical wipe up for Georgia. Ember is now lurking large. Expect Ember to be lurking here with a lot of sharking opportunities.
I mean, what is this? Oh my goodness, Ember. What was this? Right on the... It looks like they're plugged straight out of the air, but Georgia's already down 3 players. Ember gonna have to back up. Crunchy and the Zip and Tri-Stringer from Georgia may be able to back them up soon. But Farmingdale still looking for an opportunity here. Hydra's very close to the Rainmaker. They might be looking for a pickup soon, which might not be advisable here, especially with Ember starting to sneak around. Here's Ember almost picked out that Rainmaker. That was dangerous for Farmingdale. Still holding on so far. Unless these killer whales have anything to say about it, unless Crunchy has anything to say about it, making their way down the side very quickly here. Crunchy proving to be a very good threat here for Farmingdale, but Farmingdale's able to clear that one out as well.
Yeah, Farmingdale only has 20 seconds left to get to the first checkpoint. They have to win out some of these fights at this stage of the game. 52 gal is that going down. They gotta get value in front of the Optimus, which is able to get a delayed 3. But the most important thing, you gotta keep your Rainmaker holder alive at these critical junctures. It's only 22 seconds left on the clock. If that Rainmaker explodes, that's gonna be bad news. The Crunchy is left unchecked, and that Rainmaker drops. Nito and the rest of chat, time to buckle up for Game 7.
I mean, for Game 4, I'm thinking about Farmingdale just playing patiently this whole set, and they can cruise to a game 5 win. This could be wraps. Now Georgia showing up to Game 6, shows up to Game 5, shows up to Game 6 and says, this is a whole new Georgia team you're about to face, and you're about to remember why we cleared Division 5 very well. I'm astonished. This is... everything I say from here on is going to be completely different from what I said about Georgia the last 5 games. So I don't know what to expect on Game 7. I know they said play all 7. I'm sure this is not what they meant, though.
I don't think this is what they meant by the CCA traditional play all 7. They're gonna have to play all 7 now. This is a deciding Game 7. Buckle up, everybody. We gotta recap Game 6 here though, Mito, because this is a Game 6 that was definitively Georgia the entire way through. They won the fight that they needed. It just went out of control there. Yes, they didn't even break 40 points. They didn't even need to. Farmingdale just kept losing so many fights. Ember finding opportunistic pick after opportunistic pick. And unfortunately, the Sasha Jekyll's flex did not get the value that I imagined Ratboy was looking for. Or Roy Boy, I guess Ratboy is shown here. What they were looking for. So at that point, I need to see Farmingdale just play a little bit more aggressively. I'd imagine they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. But this drawing board has to be, Nino, how in basketball you have 5 seconds, maybe less than that on the clock, and the coach is just trying to draw a play. This team has to draw up a different strategy, different comp that will win them this one, and they have to do this in Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz, probably one of the more stallier Clan Blitz maps.
Not only that, I think at this point, if you're Farmingdale, you need to just break the drawing board over your knee, because this is a new Georgia team, and you don't know what to expect. I think
not anymore.
However, I think you are right with the aggressiveness. This is a Farmingdale team that chose and Zipcaster on their team, and I think they gotta use that. They gotta use that Zipcaster a little bit more and see what they can do with Voyboy. Even if it's Voyboy just being sent in there as a decoy, what can you do to follow up with that? There's so many opportunities here that Farmingdale could use that aren't just wait for a pick. There's more they can do on like Voyboy's Rainmaker. I just want to see what Farmingdale does. They can play aggressive here and still take this set, but Georgia's looking as hot as ever here.
Georgia is playing with a purpose now, and and Farmingdale just did not have a response in the previous one. Farmingdale just needs to go back and think what went so wrong in that Game 6 Rainmaker map. You're playing in a different ball game now. It's Clan Blitz. Dito, you're gonna need to remind me who won the Clan Blitz map. That was Farmingdale, right? If it was Farmingdale, which I'm pretty sure that's the team that won, they need to play out what has played out to their strengths. It is a very different map though, but this map could be conducive to Booyah Bombs, just getting control of that period, and just be ready for the Booyah Bomb trip strike to be dished out from Farmingdale, because that has been their recipe for success so far, is control of that map and special coordinations being strong. Nito, it's time to buckle up. We gotta see what both teams are dishing out here. It's a Hydra, they're Slosher. They realized originally that just did not work out, so we gotta go back to basics. Z's back here with the wiper. It's the same come from Georgia Red. Look for Georgia Red to play aggressively still.
Well, welcome back to the original comp that Farmingdale was using, and I'm gonna go ahead and follow up with you on that. That Game 3 Clan Blitz one was on Farmingdale, so there's a little bit, at least a little bit of history on Farmingdale's side here. But Georgia's still looking like this newer team. And as I say that, we're still looking for the new first pick. Ember waiting on an opportunity here. There's the opportunity for Farmingdale, actually. I think it's an important pick on a Georgia player on Crunchy. 2 picks now. This Farmingdale has to move in on this, guys. So they're a newer team. Here's the stamp. There's the player from the stamp. Has a power clam here. Has 2 picks now from the hammer. I think it was 3 players down. Ember able to hold things down. That's a wipeout for University of Georgia. And just when things look dire for Georgia, they're able to clean things up against Farmingdale. Goodness gracious, this is going to be one heck of a Game 7.
Ember in the right place at the right time to use that roller. That could have been a push that could have been ultra devastating. Farmingdale cannot capitalize. But I like what Farmingdale, by the way, I want to talk about the comp here because this is a great comp that Farmingdale is going out. It is a total control comp. If they coordinate their specials correctly, look for them to just dominate the map through their weapons and their specials. But this time around for Georgia, with the same comp that won them the previous 2, I need to see them capitalize. They take out 2 members just like that. I can't imagine they can't move up too farther up yet, but they did win. I think Crunchy went down. Nope, Crunchy just went down to a lone 52 there in that scenario. But this time, Georgia, I want to see aggressive versus control. Who wins it? Ember gets the pick onto the Hydra.
There it is. Here's Ember. This is what you need to enable more if you're Georgia. Ember is able to do so well in playing this in-your-face style. That's what got Georgia to that Game 6 win. And they can do that just a little bit more. See a little bit more help for Ember as well. That could be from Crunchy here, who's playing very well, assisting Ember with these splash walls here, and with the killer whale coming out as well. Rat Boy in a precarious spot here, goes down as well. It's University of Georgia still holds the advantage in terms of clams. But they're going to need a little bit more than the clam advantage to get themselves going here, as Grace is going to start juggling these 2 power clams, starting to get things rolling for him. There's 3 power clams now on the side of Georgia. Farmingdale still holding on to this for now. No team has hit the score point as we go past the halfway point of the set. 2:20 remaining as Rat Boy still looking to work the Nautilus and try to get things going for Farmingdale.
This is literally the most neutral game in the world, in the most stalliest way imaginable in Particle and Dime Clan, but I feel like we can't have it any other way here. Nito, there's nobody moving an inch. We are seeing the power clans just being juggled. Now again though, they're leaving Farmingdale with a little bit of a window opportunity to just strike big, but they're losing the fights when they have control of the map. Georgia just has the perfect response that they needed. Unfortunately, HC just runs a little too close into Rat Boy, and Rat Boy strikes back with a second one more. 4, and both teams still can't escape. They can't get a push up here, Nito. Two of those power claims disappearing. Ember does get a pick onto the Nautilus before finally going down on the trade. Nobody has a power claim anymore, Nito.
Nobody has a power climb. Nobody has a point either. We're about to reach 1 minute remaining, and I swear this game goes into overtime. I'm going to be getting flashbacks from Cream Corn's game against Michigan State, but we're so far looking so good for Farmingdale, who has so much pressure here. This is a complete change from what we saw in the previous matchup, and here comes the picks for University of Georgia. We've already got 2 players down on Farmingdale. Watch for them. They're going to start making their way back up. This might be Ember's time to shine, who's been doing so well sneaking up on that Hydra. This could be the one where Ember shines, especially with the cooler. If they can grab that, it could be huge. They're going to try to get themselves in. There's one pick on Roadboy. Can he get a few more? Farmingdale holding on strong. There's the stamp ready and waiting for Farmingdale. This is going to be a huge opening if they can get things going. There's 2 power clans on their side. There's the stamp on their side as well. Unless that stamp goes down like that.
Yeah, that stamp going down is huge. That was a stamp that was needed to just set up the rest of Farmingdale to get this push going. So Nito, this is 23 seconds left on the clock, and we could be seeing the biggest overtime that we'll see in Vertical 9 play, but I still feel like we can't have it any other way. This is their time to shine. Crunchy gets the pick. There is that power clutch available. Crunchy comes up clutch with 2. Crunchy gets comes up clutch with 2. The killer rail goes down. There's just 1 power claim available from Ratboy. Ratboy has taken out 2 members there, or 2 members have gone down from Georgia. Ratboy has to hold this one back, and it feels like we have gotten overtime in an 8-minute. He's gonna be pending an 8-minute overtime here. Nito, buckle up for this one. Nobody can move up just yet. It's still total control. Both teams, I'd imagine, a lot of pressure into them. Nito, get overtime for me here.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go over this rule that I learned a few weeks ago. And it's that if this game goes all 8 minutes, then the win will go to the team that's created the most power clams, which just might be Farmingdale. If they can hold on to this advantage, but Crunchy is able to at least take a trade here. That's 2 players each on each team. Both teams still going on. At least 1 player down. There's 2 power clams ready for Farmingdale, but Georgia has an advantage for now. Ember with the wipeout. What is going on? We're about to reach halfway past overtime. We still haven't seen a score. What? Welcome to peak Splatoon Clan Blitz. I don't know what's going on anymore. Keon, please just take over for now. Wait, no, wait, hold on. There's a Grace. Never mind. There's another. Grace, please be our saving grace. Never mind. There's a wipeout from Farmingdale.
They got it! They got it! It's right at the end! They snuck it through! They finally decided that they needed to move up further and be who can be the one to outaggress the other, and Farmingdale wins the fight that they needed. Nito, we've gone through an adventure in all 7 games of this UGA Red Farmingdale matchup, and Farmingdale wins the fight they needed in what feels like the longest overtime in the world to finally strike big. The clock strikes midnight. The clock struck midnight for UGA Red. Farmingdale wins a classic.
Oh, I mean, this is... Now, Keon, you and me, we know how well we're able to take things into the last game.
How does this happen to us?
I think we've gone a little too far now. Now we've gone into like Clan Blitz overtime territory. Our powers are far beyond what is being shown here. It's scary.
I'm out of words for this set. I need to compose myself here, Nito. I cannot believe it. Farmingdale, someone has to get the stats here. If there's a Farmingdale or Georgia Red player that played on that map, I need to know how long the overtime went. It felt like 6.5 minutes. I was wondering, the way both teams, I'd imagine, just threw their hands up. And I feel like that entire Game 7, Nito, could be best defined as both teams having so many strong pushes on paper and gets neutralized at the last second on defense. And they did that for the next 6 minutes of Clan Blitz in Barnacle Dime. Nito, I got no words.
That's all, folks. I don't know what to say. I mean, we go to Game 6.
We're gonna get stats, don't worry.
Looking as strong as ever. And then we get to Game 6. Georgia looks insane now. And then we get to Game 7. We are introduced to the longest, one of the craziest overtime games we've ever seen. Here's the stats, by the way. Both teams posting up at about 100,000 points painted alone. I would be willing to assume, but I mean, look at we talk about Ember a lot. We gotta talk about what Z's contribution, the Vipers' contributions are to Farmingdale. I mean, just look at that. That is off of 3 stamps alone. That seems crazy, but I'm not quite. Actually, no, I am pretty surprised. Never mind, I lied. That is wow.
I honestly, this is I don't, there, even if, let's be real, the stats tell us the story. Everybody was just playing their hearts out. Farmingdale just found so many picks, but it's really the clutch plays coming out of Georgia Red that allowed that game to just continue on longer and longer and longer. We're gonna get the replay because we're gonna need to get the graph here because producer, by the way, shout out to Almost on producer duty here today. Producer, we need to know what the time was on this overtime because that was an overtime for the ages in particle time where nobody could get a push up to anything here. I think here, so they got 5 minutes again. That's where the overtime kicked in. I think if I have remembered, yeah, look at that, plus 1 minute and 8 seconds. It was a 6 minute 8 second matchup, and this I feel like the top part of this objective screen just screams everything. We're gonna get the last push. I'll cover this one for you, Nito, while this all plays out, assuming the replay machine works. There you go, boom, boom, boom. That's where it works. So I would probably confuse just you and I on this one because the fights are happening on both sides of the ball. I need to know here because I think they snuck this one through or some serendipitous clams happened on top of it. There was a push. Yep, it was Ratboy. I figured as much. Ratboy was the one that was pretty much on point the entire way through. The team needed what they needed to do. At that point, Ratboy turned around, gets that power clam spawn with whatever clams were on the field, and that is how that ended it. But huge props all the way to Farmingdale, the rest of the team stepping up on defense because it was literally first to get the power claim in, needed to do something. Ratboy with the call to try to sneak that push in and buy themselves enough time. Won it for Farmingdale.
I gotta give credit as well to Georgia, who comes back from 3-1. This is 3-1, and we're looking at a playoff securing situation. Georgia looks at that 3-1. I don't know what's going on in their VC. I'm not in there, but if their key to victory was stay calm, then games 5, 6, and 7 have to be emblematic of that because they're coming back from a 3-1 deficit, and all of a sudden, we're looking at Game 7. We wouldn't have gotten this. What? I'm gesturing at the screen. Whatever this was. But, goodness, that was. I mean, that's a matchup of the ages.
Honestly, we gotta give credit to both teams. Both teams played their heart out. Honestly, in all 7 maps, we had to witness another classic right in front of our very eyes. And I know you alluded to it. We would have been caught up in all these crazy sets. That had to be the craziest of them all for us two as a duo. We gotta head out of here. I wish we could talk more about that set as much as they can, but let's be real. Final score 4-3. It was a set for the ages. Everybody needs to give themselves a pat on the back from Farmingdale and Georgia. Again, Georgia Red, do not feel bad about losing that game. That was a hard-fought game 7, and just one team had to lose. That was that, and it just happened to be this set. But everybody played their hearts out for this one. Huge shouts to everybody who played. Nito, we gotta wrap this up because we got a game we need to head on over. Where can the people find you?
Nito News that just about every single social media page most competitive team players can think of. That's going to be Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky as well. And you'll find me watching the next matchup we've got on. We're about to direct y'all towards. Where can the people find you, Keon?
Find me, Keon2570. You know the usual. Twitter, Blue Sky for nonsense, Twitch for the variety, as usual. Of course, I do Splatoon commentary across the board. You'll hear my voice almost everywhere. Shout outs, by the way, to Omazen, our producer here tonight. But we got to wrap this up so we can head over to that set that's just happening with Nito, my co-commentator, and producer Omazen. I'm Keon saying thank you guys for tuning into the CCA. Final score for this amazing set was Farmingdale 4, UGA Red 3. Until then, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys next time for more CCA action.